This conference will now be recorded.
To nuts, right? Because they're so. All right. Yeah, those are candy. Yeah. Sugar cookie is nice and.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
My neighbor made us cookies yesterday, and I also bought cookies, and I weighed myself today, and I was 2 pounds heavier. So I was like, maybe I should lay off the cookies more.
Don't weigh yourself till.
I know.
January.
Stay up. I love sugar cookies.
Those are my favorite to make.
Very.
Yeah. Wow. Where's the?
All right, shall we call the meeting to order and stand for the pledge? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Our Lord, as we gather this day to do the important business for the people of the village of Owego, bring us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
Amen. All right, first thing as always is public comment. We are going to do kind of like we do at the public hearing, so 3 minutes. If you want to do public comment and then keep the meeting.
I'd like to start, unless Douglas wants to go first.
You can go ahead. Go ahead, Laura. So,
All right, I would like to bring up once again the 240 square feet per bird of backyard space. I was told that Dan Schur from the Tioga County Public Health Department gave that to Terry, as I found in a message from Terry. It was not from him. I was then told it was given by Cornell University Department of Agriculture. That wasn't what I got from their specialist on poultry. It was said to be excessive and out of control. I was then told Fran actually stated that she did a Google search. The Google search comes up with a median property lot in the village of 0.25 acres. Why is this punitive? Well, I have a large house. I have a large barn. I have a very large front yard garden. I have 2 large side gardens. I have 5 hens. My neighbors didn't even really notice that I had them at all. They were so well cared for. I've never had a rat. I've already rehomed my crow, my crowless rooster. I will be putting in Freedom of Information requests to see all the research quoted by the two trustees in question, along with their contact people information, which you should have. Your notes are subject to public domain, as are your researches online. Owego is not a city like Endicott, Endwell, Binghamton, Johnson City, nor Ithaca. It is not. It is a rural community, and we're proud of our agricultural heritage. Looking at larger cities, I found that the 240 square feet per bird of backyard ground exceeds hugely that of Albany, New York. And that's a true city. I would go on to say that I will share that New York State Code Enforcement got back to me today, stating that there is no training at all for chickens, so that we are asking, in fact, 2 people who already seem to be so overworked that blatant violations on structures are happening, and they do not need to be trained and seem to have no idea of chickens at all. And in fact, it was stated last time at the last meeting insultingly that the law is in fact not reality. It is reality. Crowing should have been addressed by the OPD. It's covered under the noise ordinance. Birds at large should have been covered by the sheriff's department. They are to capture and take the birds because the birds are being neglected. Code should have helped the woman with the coops, tacked her fence. They did not. That was 3 years ago. That was well within their purview. Why wasn't it done? Until the laws are actually changed on the books, the laws remain binding, and they are in fact reality. I will be placing many more requests since the clerk, asking to see how many cases our code enforcement deals with, how many are solved and cleared. Okay. I want you to know one other thing. Next time you threaten to cut off virtual input for disabled people, I will bring a lawsuit against the village. And that building better be 100% ADA compliant because you're going to be made to prove it. Thank you.
So bring it up. All right, who's next? 3 minutes.
I'll step in. Yes, the building itself is ADA compliant. However, the other door has to be open in order to be ADA compliant. If you open one door that is said to be open, if you open that door and you're coming up the ramp with a wheelchair, you have 22 inches from the end of the door to where the cement steps drop down. The average wheelchair is 30 inches. Exactly how does that work?
I can show you. It is compliant.
Oh, I know. It's ADA compliant. I get that. If you open the other door.
It's open.
I opened it today. I forced it, but I opened it today. It was not open the last meeting.
It was.
No, it wasn't. I tried it and it was not open. I don't care. If I can't open it, it's not compliant. We'll start with that. Current zoning laws in this community include space for R2. You know what that means? Should. It means agriculture and livestock are acceptable.
You can have a two-family home.
What's that?
That means that you can have a two-family home.
Okay, then apparently the zoning laws that I read from New York State and Tioga County are incorrect. That's interesting. Are you planning on grandfathering the current chicken owners? There's nothing that says about that. The 240 square feet, as I mentioned at the last time, and as I gave you the handout, it doesn't deal with runs. It doesn't deal with tractors. I have a tractor that I put the chickens in. I move that tractor every week. Do I get to count just the space in the tractor? Or do I get to count the entire backyard since I'm moving the tractor around? She mentioned the code enforcement officer. I still believe that the code enforcement is so overworked. They are not able to do the job that they are supposed to do, which is take care of the buildings. That was made evident last meeting when the fire department came in and made a report that they had mold issues in the basement. How long has the board known that there are mold issues in the basement? And by the way, were you aware that the mold issues are not just in the basement, but they are in the upper floors, and there's asbestos in that building? And that's the building that you're having the fire department reside in, which means every firefighter in the village has been exposed to not only molds, but asbestos. That's a health risk that needs to be dealt with.
Are we talking
What
about
has
the
been
building
happened since
itself?
There's your 3 minutes.
Are we talking about the fire building itself?
the fire department building itself?
We don't have our company members in that building. They're not in that building. We used to have meetings in those company rooms. We don't have that.
Okay, so nobody's in that building.
Nobody's in that building but EMS. We don't have our members residing in those rooms. All those windows you see, there's nobody in there.
The rooms have been aired.
No one goes in the building?
Nobody, because of what you stated. So that's why.
If no one's going.
We're
into
in the
building,
process of fixing that so that we can reside in that
So
building.
what's happened with that? I'm asking specifically because I talked to the fire chief and he says nothing's happened.
So the upper floor is closed. Nobody should be up there because of air quality testing.
When they had the meeting, when they had the report last time, he said they could not close the basement. Everybody knew that they should go into the basement, right?
The basement's closed, but not boarded up.
Okay, ask her, where does her husband do the laundry?
We're fixing that. Because we didn't know what was happening in the basement, so we fixed it.
Well, according to the fire chief, nothing's happened.
It's been 2 minutes, so 20 minutes.
It doesn't take long to put a board on a wall.
Your 3 minutes is up. So, do we have anybody else?
This is fascinating. I gotta come to more of these meetings. So I'm not up to speed on the protocol we're using here, but can I ask questions?
You sure can.
We need you to identify yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To the board.
Can they see?
They can hear, they can see.
There you go.
But no, you can't have.
Hi, Laura. I
Hey.
don't see your commentary on the Facebook page about the chickens.
Yeah, thank you for that. I spent time on it.
Yep, that's clear. One question I would have is, does the
Have you identified yourself yet, sir?
I beg your pardon? What's going on?
Appreciate the thoughtful time you put into this law, because I've been a member of this village long enough to see a lot of laws come and go real quick without a lot of critical thought. So kudos to all of you who have worked on that. It is refreshing to see this sort of community interaction towards legislation. And I would just say I am a proponent of getting this right for many reasons and too many to mention at tonight's meeting. And I think it should be continued to be discussed. And that might take a while, up until the point of a vote. Because I think there is a lot more research to be done when we drill down into the weeds of this matter. So I'm here to learn, encourage, but also participate, because I really hope we can get this right.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. You were 4 seconds under.
Do you get to go multiple times?
So we have public comment again at the end. Hang on. Do we have anybody else?
I'm Andrea Jones, Woodlawn Ave. I'm just curious about, I know the 240 square foot thing is a sticky point for a lot of people, so I'm curious about considering individual lot sizes. As people apply for their permits, how that might be considered or play out. If the village were to say, you need a minimum lot size of a certain amount to be able to have a permit, and then your quantity of hens that you keep, or however that works, is based on that lot size. Just curious. That might make it a little bit clearer, and easier to enforce.
All right. Anybody else public comment? First time around. Okay. So we'll move on to our invited guest, who I don't think is here.
Unless he's in the other room, which I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. So that's likely what they're talking about next. Steve Carbonetta, let me see. He has to come to the meeting for an appeal. We should probably ask Nate to move on.
We did receive it in
Yeah, because we got an email, so maybe we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't tell me you had to be here, right?
No, it needs to be here. It's just a discussion for the board. So my recommendation is the board have an attorney-client session with me to receive my advice about how to respond to the appeal.
Okay, so, Mr. Mayor, I move that we have a executive session on attorney-client privilege.
That's the
At the end of the meeting.
Yes.
second.
Any discussion about the
Is that
executive
at the
session?
end of the meeting? Do I need to be involved in that?
I think the chief's,
You have to stay till tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, chief, we can probably, if we.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
You need me here for anything?
Let's vote on that. Russ?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Gar?
Yeah.
And yes.
Not that I don't mind hanging out.
You got anything, we're at department head reports, you got anything?
No.
You gonna get our chickens?
You guys got your chicken? Oh, we got something wrapping up for the police station.
Yes.
Oh, boy.
Maybe we want us to put a bid notice in for the work done with the 90th Street. Got the project moved, I thought we had to do something.
Well, we probably put public works project on when they're in excess of $30,000. Yes.
I thought I made a copy, you may have a copy.
I think I talked to Meg maybe a week or two ago about, where that needed to be published. I told her the official newspaper
Okay, copy.
we designate
You
for
need it, right?
publication purposes as the
Right.
courier
Courier.
and the press and sign. So we do both.
Let's take a look at it. So, well, we just want to make, we didn't have anybody, say to put in the paper yet, so that's what we want to do. We approved the project, but this is just a notice, I think that came from you.
I motion we put a notice in the paper for the 90 Street
Yeah.
project.
90.
Second that.
I don't even know if we have to have a motion for that, but we'll vote on it anyway.
Is it this whole document or is it?
No, that's
This is part of it.
I think it's changed about the windows.
So, present.
It's the grant work that we have going on there,
well, actually, yeah, it would be.
so, yeah.
Okay,
I'd rather have,
It's fine. Put a thorough one together. Yeah, I think I'd actually looked at this and said, yeah, it's fine. So, I mean, you would put from notices hereby given to the end of page 2.
okay. That's, I just want to make, I just rather be covered or something.
Okay, so we'll
We
vote
keep
on
that if you need it.
putting that in the paper,
Once again,
the whole thing, yeah.
Okay.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Gar?
Yes.
And yes. You know, the one police thing we have. Right? Okay, communications, we did get an anonymous letter that said that people are serving alcohol, not selling it within village establishments. I don't know why that's our issue, but
Need a liquor authority issue or?
well, that's kind of what the letter says. It was from concerned citizens in Tioga County, not just Owego.
So we're talking about people giving out free wine with purchase or something of that
That's
sort?
exactly what.
We looked into that, that isn't going to New York State law.
We're not giving out wine at the meetings, so I don't know.
No, there's cookies,
Just
but there's
put-
peanuts in them. Don't make the peanuts.
Stickers or stuff only with alcohol.
Pretty
Currently,
much, yeah.
Actually, it's shown there.
Just one for me, just read that thing again, what's it concerned with, what's the wording on it?
it's come to our attention due to social media that
Oh, great.
alcohol is being served, not sold, in village establishments. There are rules for this, and we hope that they're in place so the village does not get into trouble down the road. We've seen this happening over many years, but now with the ability to check immediately, we feel it's important to adhere to the rules. then they quote the liquor authority that says you can't do that. Thank you for listening to the public. This isn't being sent to rule out any one place, just as FYI.
So they haven't defined what they mean by establishments. It sounds like a business.
The key word here is social media.
Oh, yeah.
Well, in regards to this businesses saying that they're giving away free wine with purchase or something of that
I
effect.
mean, it's something to look into.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Point of clarification, does it say village establishments?
Yeah, it says village establishment.
It doesn't,
It's just from
Language is important.
on the letter.
But still-
Village establishment would imply that it's a village
Not a
of the
town.
government establishment. Or are they really trying to say establishments within the village property?
Yeah,
that's what we were just saying.
It was anonymous, so I have no idea how to even
It's
clear
not
it.
clear about what they meant.
we don't know who sent this. So.
Okay.
I would ask another question of them. Doug Weeks.
I know. Gentlemen, you don't get to participate. I know you want to ask questions, but that's not how this works. You just don't get to do that unless the mayor asks you specifically for something. At the end of the meeting, you have another chance to have a comment. I'm sorry if I overstep my bounds.
I'd love to ask them a bunch of questions, but we don't know who sent this. So.
Just,
It's gonna probably.
it's mayor's meeting.
But that's okay.
So,
Check the state.
Hey, I'm new at this,
I
right?
know, that's why. No, that's why I was telling you that generally it's not a back and forth. I know things will be on your mind, but it's the mayor's meeting.
so, old business, or chicken law discussion. So I put this on here just for us to talk about. So obviously we had the public hearing. We have 60 days to take action, which would mean we'd have to do something by our second meeting in January. Technically, 60 days is like 2 days before the next meeting after that. But question is, for the board, what have you guys been thinking about hearing? What kind of session we want to have? I know personally, I've done a lot of research. I've called the town, I've talked to the town and their code enforcement, and I've talked to our code enforcement. And so the town laws don't apply to the village because we have our own zoning and code enforcement. Otherwise they would. The town law says that classifies chicken as livestock, same with goats and cows and pigs. And to get a livestock permit in the town, you have to have 5 acres of land to even apply. So if all of our homes were in Appalachian, Crestview Heights, the Terrace, we could have 0 chickens. Nobody has, there's like 3 properties that have 5 acres of land in the village. But thinking along those lines, when I talk to them, they say, well, that's because we don't want chickens in residential areas. And the town allows no roosters, even if you have 5 acres of land, you can't have a rooster. Unless you have like a real certified agriculturally zoned farm, then you can have a rooster. So I agree, kind of with Andrea's way of thinking of, maybe we, instead of, I know the 240 is the big number, maybe we look at lot size and say, to apply for our permit, you've got to have the median lot size in the village of 1/4 of an acre. And if you have 1/4 of an acre, up to an acre, you can have 20 chickens. If you have an acre and above, you can have however many chickens you want.
Or whatever limit we put.
Right. And then that doesn't make code enforcement go measure people's backyard, and what is your backyard, what is your side yard, what is your front yard. Something easy you can look up and reference, and that's the median lot size in the village. There's some bigger, some smaller.
But that also includes house, right?
That's you said half an acre or 1/4 acre?
1/4 acre.
So an acre's what, 50-something thousand square feet?
43,560.
43,000 feet.
43,000. We're close. So 11,
Yeah.
well, it's between 10 and 11 for 43 acres, 1/4.
Right.
Yeah. And then what's the standard footprint for a house in the village? Any idea? I mean, there are some big houses here.
Big ones and little ones.
Yeah.
Like 700 square foot.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got a relatively modest house.
The way the code, or the way the draft law is written right now, it's, the backyard, the measurement of the backyard. So the idea of the 240 was that this is about the backyard and what's the way to align the number of chickens allowed with all of the properties in the village, recognizing that some are just really small.
Right.
And they might not be able to have 6 chickens, but maybe if it's big enough, somebody could have 1 or 2 chickens or 3 chickens. It's still fitting within the measurement distances from relating nearby structures, things like that. I mean, certainly going to a standard of quarter acre, minimum size quarter acre gets you 6 chickens. Half an acre gets you 12, an acre gets you 24, whatever number you get, whatever you come up with. I mean, that is, I would agree, easier. It does mean you're excluding a number of parcels from the village having any chickens at all, because there's certainly a bunch that are less than a quarter acre. And then we would need to probably, and we might, I don't know if you'd want to consider including a variance procedure to waive the quarter acre requirement in light of the, like if somebody's at 100 feet below a quarter of an acre, right? So we need to consider that, and that's where the 240 square feet of backyard just naturally flexes along with that type of concept. So it is a little bit of work for code enforcement, which is why it's a one-time application review, and we don't have to go back again unless there are problems. So, I mean, obviously, whatever the village board thinks, I just want to provide like some of the thought process behind why the 240 or 1 chicken for every 240 square feet of backyard was discussed and was the version chosen.
And then I also talked to code enforcement and talked. So apparently a chicken coop is considered an agricultural structure, which New York State Building Code does not apply to, they're exempt from. So we need to take that line out that says shall apply to the code, because there is none. What they have to comply to is the floodplain development code from FEMA and DEC, because any structure cannot get out of that. And it doesn't necessarily mean raising the chicken coop, it means like tying it down to them, float away, flood vents, any electrical has to be 2 foot above base flood elevation, etc. And January 1st starts the enforcement of the 500-year floodplain. So those elevations are like, up in the sky.
So the reference, at least regarding the building code reference, the phrasing in the law says all coops must be constructed in compliance with the Village of Owego code regarding flood damage prevention and building code administration as applicable. Right. And so if it doesn't apply, it doesn't apply. I think we can still leave it in there, or we can remove it.
Here to remove that.
You prefer to remove it?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't need people to be afraid of being like a temporary chicken coop. And FEMA says that they're not even going to worry about temporary structures like that unless it's in the floodway.
Yeah, so, I mean, following that line of reasoning, and I don't have any objection to it, the entire sentence can be removed, because whether a law applies or not, whether a state law applies or not, doesn't matter for our local code. If we said the flood damage law doesn't apply, well, that still applies, it's not true, right? So really just removing that entire sentence and then people understanding that they have to comply with the flood law. I mean, that's just a natural piece of it. You have to,
depending on what the structure is.
right, depending on what they do.
Because you have a lot of different purposes.
One thing we had figured before, with the 240 square feet per bird, this room would accommodate 4 birds.
Right. So if we go by lot size, you could potentially rule out property that could have chickens under the proposed law. But go by lot size, maybe that's qualified.
Yeah.
As per Mr. Workfull's thought process, which I appreciate. I told you, you're not supposed to tell us it. This sounds to me like more work for us. We should do exactly what he recommends. I know it keeps going and take time. But we're not gonna figure this out right this second. Okay, how many feet? We should have our committee, and they also actually include the rest of the board, even though we don't meet as one. And we should be, once again, refining this, working on this some more. We're not gonna
So I guess my question.
figure this out this minute.
We have until the second meeting in January. We want to the law has changed pretty drastically since when we had the public hearing. And we took out the whole point system. We took out, changed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there enough has changed that I would say reholding and renoticing the public hearing. And if you're considering having some additional changes, certainly to how you determine the minimum lot size for the keeping of chickens, like, yeah, that's definitely gonna be triggering it anyway.
So we can either make a new law, change this law, and have a new public hearing and a new 60 days. And once again, this wasn't supposed to take effect till April. I know we're not trying to drag this forever, but we're, as recommended, we're trying to get it as right as we can. So let's do that. Let's have the committee work on it some more, and let's then have them give us a draft, and we can make it a public hearing.
Another comment I'd like to make. Terry and I have talked with Nate about runs and all that stuff, and we just decided we didn't want to get into all that sticky stuff. You know, if as far as the size of runs for the birds and the size of coops and so on, that's according to, you know, the other laws.
Yeah, Fred, to help expand on that, I think, as I recall, our discussion was, you know, the chickens are required to have a coop and a fenced enclosure. And if somebody's backyard happens to be entirely fenced, there's your enclosure. Right? As long as it's secured. So if somebody wanted to literally allow them running around their backyard, which I believe might be free range, or how people define that, like, okay, if somebody wants a much smaller enclosed area, then, okay, I guess they're not free range, but in either case, we require them to be enclosed completely in some fashion. Yeah, but to your point, we didn't feel like dictating whether you know how big of an enclosure somebody can have as long as they're enclosed.
And we did notice that it was easier, I'm sorry, Charles.
And the 240 wasn't necessarily scientific to the chicken. It was more to determine that you had a big enough lot to do this.
Right, because you still need to
Same
hit
as
things
5
off.
acres in the town.
Right. And actually, in the town, it's 100 feet off the lot line and 150 from the next neighboring residence. So that's
The
much
town law
larger.
is very restricted.
Yes, the town law is much more restrictive.
And
But
his
yes.
comment to me was because they don't want chickens in residential areas.
Yeah,
Or
correct.
goats or pigs.
Which is what Waverly and Horsehead and
Endicott.
Endicott don't want chickens in
Johnson City.
residential area, but that doesn't mean that we have to do that.
Certainly, that's a policy discussion for you folks. And if you want more time to think, you know, I'm not saying you have to do this. I'm just reminding you of an option. You can mail a survey out to everybody with choices and see who responds with, you know, to the survey questions about whichever choice you're talking about. Completely exclude chickens, allow hens, no roosters, allow all the chickens, allow, you know, 6, 12, 20, infinite per, you know, quarter acre. I mean, we have to really think what are the framing, how are the questions framed to gather or to get the responses that are most helpful. That would probably mean we don't make an April effective deadline. But if you really want to dive into it, then that would be one way of doing that.
Yeah, it's hard to get data. Charles?
I really fought myself to keep my mouth shut about this chicken stuff, because like I said, I don't know about raising chickens, but looking at this, I mean, because I kind of like moved back, I could see this forest for the trees. And I thought the initial situation was those people who were not abiding by the law, or not raising their chickens in the right way. where it was making a health hazard or rodent infestation, and it was geared toward these people. And to have a law in place that would encompass those who are breaking this law, that we can look at something, that we can have a guideline for reprimanding these individuals. People who've been raising chickens all this time, there's some people I didn't even know had chickens. And we wouldn't know if they had chickens if they didn't stick their heads out of the sand in advocating this thing about the law, because it seems like they're being attacked. But they're not. If they got more chickens than they're supposed to, but they have an operation where it's not a problem, then it wouldn't be a problem for them. It's only those who it's a problem that they're not taking care of the chickens. That's how I see it. So if there's a lot of people.
Is the meeting stuck again?
But I'm calling it as I see it. These laws are being put so that those who are violating extensively and not and causing an environmental catastrophe, we can do something about it and say, well, this is what it stipulates, and you're not covering this agenda here, these laws, then you're in violation. But the right thing, come on now. You're doing the right thing. Have your chickens, have your eggs, just leave the roosters.
So Charles, to that point, I think what you're advocating for is a law that has no restriction on the number of chickens that can be kept. Just a statement that the chickens be kept in a coop, they be kept in an enclosure, that the food be locked up, that the sanitation stuff. I'm just trying to make sure that.
Yeah, that's what I thought this was all about. It's like stirring up the coop. But the people are upset that they feel like they're being attacked and they're doing the right thing. You know what I mean? I don't think we're after those people who are doing the right thing, but I think they feel like they are. But it's not. I don't know.
So that's kind of what the county law says is, well, there's like, it has like no restriction. But it says if you've got a lot, 5 acres, whatever you want.
I don't know how much room a chicken needs to do its chicken things.
So it's not the chicken, it's more how do we want to allow chickens within a dense population? More the neighbors.
Well, like I said, those who have neighbors who are doing the right thing by their chickens, they're not complaining about them.
If you've got a neighbor within 50 feet of your, reach out and touch them, you want that neighbor to have 50 chickens or whatever?
Well, if they're taking care of them, 50 chickens, and they're not on my property, and I don't get roosters from them.
But if you got a neighbor 700 feet away, that's a different ballgame.
I'll be made fun.
Okay.
I'll be going.
I do kind of agree with Laura Young on the rat issue or something. That is a health department issue, but the problem is the county health department can't just come to Owego to check a backyard for chickens, so we need a more reasonable solution to that.
Yeah.
And the other question I have is, like, it has to be a fenced lot. I don't know how high chickens can jump or fly or whatever they do, but like, for them to not get at large, should we have a minimum fence height? I know anything over 42 inches has to be inspected by code. So I don't know how that would play in.
The thought process with the code as drafted was that chickens are not allowed to run at large.
Right.
And people have to keep them enclosed. And so if your chicken gets loose, then you didn't do a good enough job of closing it and you're gonna get violated. How you fix the enclosure issue is up to you. You need to build a bigger fence, You need to put a wire mesh over the top of your backyard, put a wire mesh over the top of your backyard.
I mean, like, argument, I guess, would be that not everybody does reasonable things with their chickens, so maybe we need a law that says, hey, maybe you need to make it 7 foot, or whatever the case may be. I don't, you had your hand up.
I was just gonna say, we have a 6-foot fence around our yard. We have had the occasional escape artist. When that happens, we clip their flight feathers.
I didn't know that was a
And
thing.
we're good for the
See,
year until they molt and regrow, and then they can't fly.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
when you're
Thank
done.
you.
I think I'm done.
And that was the purpose of the point system to a degree. If somebody has a chicken at large, well, we don't want that, and then you get your little points and you get your little warning. And if you do it, if it happens again, you get more points and more warning, and sometimes double secret probation ends up, you lose your license. That was the whole idea of the points, so on these little things,
Now
that's how way we can control that person that's not taking the drill. So shall we do what we said, or what I suggested, and have the committee look at
Yeah,
this?
I mean, I think you still need to look at.
This is one of the only opportunities we get to discuss it as a group without having a work session. So, I mean, I agree, let them do their thing.
Yeah. I think they've contacted me every time, and so it's working around, just as long as you know, but it's
This is just quick.
Yeah, so we keep it open so we could talk turkey.
No turkeys.
No turkeys. No.
Everything.
Chickens.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, we're gonna send Joe on his way.
I'm gonna wait a little bit.
It's fun, right?
Enjoy the show.
If there's anything else we're talking about with the chicken besides?
Andrea, I'm sorry, Andrea was allowed to speak. I have a question.
I actually asked Andrea to speak. I did not ask you, Laura, I apologize.
Okay, thank you, it's okay. All right, you ask Andrea. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, let's get this new business.
Yep.
So let's see, we have the North Avenue Art Park RFPs. We got 13 submissions. It's just kind of information. So now there's a process for the committee that's going to allow and select those to 3 or 4 that we can.
So, we received 13, but there's actually 14 proposals that we're reviewing. The committee is going to be meeting this week to do our first, elimination round.
And all the proposals are here if anybody wants to come check them out. I had their office print out a couple copies. Just leave them here if you want to come look at them.
They're actually not all here. I'm looking through them and they're not.
So, okay, we're supposed to.
Not in the packet.
Yeah.
That was the plan anyway, they're supposed to do it.
There's 13, you're interviewing 14. What's the 14?
One of the submitters put in two distinctly different.
Which is great.
Oh, okay.
Right, and we have a Google form that we fill out on each individual one then and send them in, unless there was a conflict. So.
Okay.
That's good.
We have a reviewing matrix.
Yep.
And the PRI process says we sort of have to do that because anything we do can be reviewed. People can foil it. So.
And there were some lovely proposals. They were really very interesting, very cool.
Any other discussion about the art park? Other than there'll be more information coming. Good to see that we got a lot. We were wondering about that, but we got a lot. All right, next thing is to move 292,000. This is money that people didn't pay the sewer bill, so it went on their taxes. You gotta move that from the general fund to the sewer fund.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we move $292,271.02 of sewer levy money from tax collection general fund to the sewer fund.
Second. Any other discussion about that? Right,
Yes.
here,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Next thing is discussion on EMS billing. So I know we had some discussion on the company that we use and maybe switching to a different company.
Yes, I had a meeting with Derek Waddle last week and we were just talking because we use Medix. There is other agencies that you can use. Medix takes about 10% of the proceeds, but there's some other, because you go through a billing agency. So there are some others that take a less percentage. So we are starting to explore those so that we can maybe get one. One of the ones we looked at was 7% instead of 10%. So, if you're talking $500,000 saved for a year, that's another $15,000, which is, 12 hours every Sunday for the rest of the year. I think that's a good deal. So it would be a little bit of work for the office. I talked briefly with Kim and Nikki about that, just so that they were aware. But
I just wanted people to know that we're looking at this because we would come obviously and present it so that when we have all the facts. And Derek has one other one that he is meeting with, I believe, the end of this week. So after he meets with them, we'll have 3 different options.
I had questions, because I know like when we first went to MedX, we had trouble getting Medicare bill directly.
That's
So,
exactly the
you know
problem.
what I mean?
So you want to make sure, A, you're really caught up with the program that you've been using before you switch. And they don't really have a like yearly contract or anything. I think it's more like a month by month. So it's easy to switch, but we do want to make sure that we have that stuff troubleshooted out beforehand so that we wouldn't lose revenue.
Right.
You know, while we're trying to increase revenue.
I would have the question of, we're gaining money percentage-wise, but are we giving up anything in customer service or other aspects?
Right, and that, so that was one thing, the reason Derek started really looking into this was Candor switched a few years ago and they really liked this company that they're using. And they said that they were definitely taking more money. So that was kind of, I think, like, Derek was like, hey, do you know about this? I'm like, oh, but tell me. So that's where we started with that.
You don't get rewarded for sending us to them, do they?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
I mean,
they
that's a big thing now.
Yeah,
I mean,
mission.
Yeah.
They
Who
may
knows?
bias somebody's opinion on changing.
That's true. Rusty, Mr. Mayor.
Vaguely, so just make sure I'm telling those numbers for sure, because vaguely in the back of my mind, I thought when we set up for medics, it was 7 for medics. Was it always 10?
True.
Yeah, I don't remember that being 10. But it doesn't mean I remember it right.
It could have been a while ago. I don't know when they started with them. Do you know when they started with them?
I have it written down, I just can't. It
Okay.
was about 6 years ago.
Right, so, I mean, if it was 5 or 6 years ago, it may have gone up in that time period. But,
Which is interesting, because we should have known that they were raising our price, but whatever.
right, but it's,
But
yeah,
you believe it's 10 now for them?
it
It
is,
is
it's
Okay.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something worth looking into. At this point, it doesn't hurt all the other companies. But I just wanted you all to be aware that this is something we're looking at, so if we do decide to switch and we have it arranged with, Nikki and Kim, that people aren't blindsided by that. And the other thing was LoSAP, they did get the 2024 numbers finished, and we have 8 folks who qualified for LoSAP in 2024. That is correct, 8.
Good that they got the paperwork back.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think there was a bit of a hunting going on.
Am I remembering the LoSAP fund number was
Right.
but
They were thinking as well.
We were anticipating it might be as high as that.
So it is lower, but still, that's a good incentive for the people that,
Yeah, for the volunteers.
Yep. absolutely.
Good timing.
Okay, so there will be paperwork for you, and that is it on EMS Go. Thank you.
The next thing we have is fire department number.
I have a motion to approve Joseph Pinell of 5740 Slade Street as a Village of Owego Fire Department volunteer with company number 5.
I'll second that.
That's number 4.
Or is it?
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I got 5 over mine. I'm trying to steal people.
Good shot there, though. Good shot. Somebody with 5s. Well done.
Yeah, so I have the application. Rodney, did you get a printout of this application?
It was in my email.
Oh, that,
It's in my email.
yeah, mine too. I was wondering if you got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you got it.
It's nice to have an ad for next year.
Yeah. Of course, it's been vetted.
So do we have a motion?
You did a motion,
I did a
Mike,
motion.
second.
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion on?
I'm just taking the trust of the people appointing.
Yeah, it went through fire board.
Fire board. We shall vote on Joe. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes,
Donna?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Terry?
yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Yes.
So it is written, so it shall be done.
So it's good to have new volunteers. Next thing is payment of bills.
I move that we pay the bills.
Oh, that was mine.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
My discussion. Well, Ron's question.
What was the thing on the back of the package that we had made a mistake with, interesting, that was that was something else. I'm talking about the financial package.
We got
Yeah, we-
an email describing.
Okay. It had to do with, we made some adjustments with taking the interest from, the, memorial, fund for, repairing, tombstones and taking the interest, from the perpetual care fund to put into, maintenance repair fund. So that was what that was about.
So that's not in payment of bills, that's
That's under treasury.
okay, thank you.
My only question, and Joe's actually here. Well, it's actually Brown's question. Cornell University Hospital, we got a bill. Ordered something for out. Is that your dog?
Yeah.
Maggie?
Maggie had an issue.
She okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
How much is it?
It wasn't.
That isn't right.
Cheap
Right.
for-
That's like $2,000 to walk in.
That's like a drive up there.
Okay.
So we gotta deal with it. Issue.
The other dog passed.
Yes.
One of them. All right, so we got a motion, a second about the bills. Any other questions about the bills? Will we pay the bills? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Yes, sign it, all right. Yeah. Next thing is the treasurer's report. So you guys can start talking about that. That's the interesting.
Yes, thank you.
So Rodney, that thing with the interest, that's all,
There's like two different accounts.
that's good.
It's all taken care of.
We figured out what we did, we'll do correctly.
Deal with our, those things are like in CDs or bank. Kind of spot, takes like a couple weeks. It's all done.
So do we have a motion?
We'll do it separate.
Report?
I'll second.
Okay, any other questions about the treasurer's report? Okay, we'll vote. Frank?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Ron?
Yes.
Yes.
I moved to approve the minutes. I was actually very impressed with all of the notes that were included.
16 pages.
That's that.
It all over.
The result of the public hearing, there's quite a few pages.
People submit them, we'll put them in.
Great.
Second.
I have one quick question about that. So, I mean, Rodney, that's generally your decision about which things you want to put in there.
Right, yeah.
And so that was your thought process, that those are the things you wanted in there.
Right, I mean, we had some things that weren't, it didn't come in for the meeting, so I like the stuff that comes in.
I think that was good.
Well, the other comment I'd like to make on that too is, the mayor does, put the, the recording of our meetings
Yeah, they're all on YouTube.
on YouTube, so that's.
If anybody wants to go watch the hours of videos.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right there.
This is since time began.
Word for the words.
This is nothing new that we've been
No,
doing for 8,
8 years.
9 years.
But, so my point just was that we generally don't include a whole lot of things that the public says to us in the meeting, but Rodney has that authority to figure out which time it went. And he did that, and that's fine.
They were all presented.
Right.
Yeah, they present things in writing they want. Yep.
If they give us copies written, it makes it easier. Let's vote on that. Brad?
Yes.
Yes.
Carl?
Yes.
Rusty? Yes.
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 Trustee report. Rusty?
No report, sir.
Brown?
No report.
Charles?
I believe Lights in the River went on without a hitch. the mayor dealt with the Grinch, had the lights turned on. I'd like to thank DPW for getting everything situated, making sure every snowflake lit.
It's not front of my store.
People who sponsored the fireworks, I heard them from my place. That was pretty good. Thank all the residents who braved the cold weather to be out there. That was a feat within itself.
A little breezy.
Yeah, it's my kind of weather. Other than that, I have nothing else to add to that. That's all I got to say about that.
We had an OHPC meeting.
Oh, wait,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Oh, all
All right.
I mean, we're going anywhere.
The DRI art project, the arrangement with TAC fell through for the design fee awards.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we met with Hunt County and state reps, and so we made a plan that we're gonna use Hunt, we're gonna do it through Hunt
Oh, okay.
as subcontractors. That's like a design fee.
Right, okay. However it gets there, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as the state's okay with it.
Yeah, and we'll be able to pay them that way. So that's the 5 designs that move through will get $1,000 so that they have a little bit of money to spend their time creating the final designs, drawings, budget materials.
Right, anybody unfamiliar with the process, so we got 13 in, select 5 to move to the next round where they'll give us more of a detailed proposal. And that's what the $1,000 is to compensate them for, because that, from this to the next round is gonna take a considerable amount of like, we want renderings and props and that kind of thing.
So, yes, we did receive the 13 submissions, 14 designs for review, the committees reviewing them. And the CEC solar project, the contract still needs to be finalized and signed, so.
Did you send my comments on the Buffalo Solar?
I sent your comments to, like, our committee, so it's like includes like Cornell Cooperative Extension and NYSERDA, but I didn't send your specific email stuff, but like some content I shared.
So, you know, I noted the warranty has a limit of $50,000 max repairs that they would honor under the warranty, which when I mentioned that at the meeting, we discussed it, I think the board was concerned about that. So we need to let Buffalo Solar know that's a problematic contractual limitation.
So we questioned them about the prices of the inverters. So there would be different inverters for this building versus the building next door because of what they would, where they would be putting the energy. So, but they still cost about the same, so it'd be like, it was like somewhere from $6,000 to $12,000 to replace all of the inverters if something happened to it.
The concern is really if in the course of construction, they cause some issue to the structural integrity of the building. Whether that's infiltration of water in a way that, you know, in 5 years from now causes a structural issue requiring like the building roof to be redone, which would undoubtedly be, well, I'm assuming would be much more than $50,000. I understand individual components that might fail are probably well within the 50 grand. And that, I mean, I can see warranting the equipment with up to $50,000 as like the potentially being acceptable, given the total package of the system itself is less than $200,000. But I think the concern is, again, it's the building. And if they damage the building, are they gonna come back and restore it? And the concern is their warranty limits their liability to 50 grand.
Was there not a separate warranty for building versus the material?
Not that I saw. You know, I know when we talked about it, it was like, oh, their warranty is 15 years. That's presumably covering like everything. And that's where we need to very clearly communicate the concerns to them and get their response. I mean, maybe it's not an issue and they'll be like, sure, 50 grand, 200 grand, done, or $1 million, or, oh, we've got insurance for that. You know, but we need to understand what their position is before we can agree on the contract language.
How can we expect them to warranty our roof for something that like even the roof builder wouldn't?
Well, which roof builder?
Jeff, woodworking guy
Well,
that
he,
did the roof.
he provides a 15-year warranty on the roof. And if there was some issue with the way that he installed the roof, you know, within 15 years, he's got to come back and like fix it. And if it causes damage to if his negligence in installing or fixing the roof causes damage to the building, we definitely go after him.
Well, we already had a problem with the roof leak since he's repaired it, and I don't know if that was covered under the warranty or what
We should have
they've done
definitely
about
had a
it.
claim against it. I don't know, I'm not aware of that either, but yeah, there should have been a claim against his warranty.
But I don't see why Buffalo Solar would go ahead and insure us if we haven't even, done this sort of due diligence on making
They're-
sure our own roof isn't.
Because they said they would protect their roof for what, 2 years?
Yes, well, Buffalo Solar, so the 15 is what they warrant their work for. And they're-
Right, I thought it protected the roof for a lower amount of time.
It was like 2 years, I believe, to show that it wasn't going to be leaking
Oh,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
insulation.
Look at that again, exactly.
That's why I was wondering if there's 2 separate warranties for the roof versus for
Yeah.
15
But,
material.
well, Laura, my simple question was, were my concerns communicated to Buffalo Solar? Sounds like no.
What was that one, and then the price of the insurance?
Yeah, I think that Nick Spencer gave a quote of like $300 or $400 for the builder's risk policy, which seems fine.
So I can ask them about the,
I mean, if you could put me in touch with them, I think me directly talking to them about, hey, this is the concern, let's talk through it, is the best way to probably address this.
okay. Do you think you could reply to the email I sent you that has everybody's?
Well, I did, and I asked my comments and then forwarded on to Buffalo, so
Okay,
I sent that earlier today.
right. Okay. I will forward it to Buffalo Solar. See if we can.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I was hoping he would have done in November when I had those comments, you know, that, oh, hey, here's the comments from legal, let's, you know, get on a call to work through. I don't think it's anything insurmountable, but we need to just have a conversation with them.
Okay. So I'm still waiting for information about the batteries for the backup system. And that was to inform the decision about which building to get the behind the meter service, whether it's this building, which has higher energy usage, or the garage, which has higher bills. The Climate Smart Community Task Force, we're seeking a few members of the public that would like to be on a program for public information committee. What that is, it's a small committee that would meet a few times to develop a plan for promoting flood protection in the village. And then after that plan's approved, that committee would meet once a year to reevaluate the program and make sure that things are going smoothly. Binghamton University has a professor with students. They're going to be completing their capstone projects in the spring semester. So they're going to work with the village towards helping us realize some of our projects or interests that we'd like that they can work on. It's an environmental studies class. So most likely the flood, or it could be small projects and not like the larger plans that we'd like. Grace DeSantis from Barton and Laguitas will present the draft action strategy that she's prepared as part of the grant that we have, the 5-year grant. So she's been working on this for about 3 years. And so this is something that the village board and the department heads would look over, and then we would decide what prioritization we'd like of the actions for the consultants to work on and for the village to work on towards completing our.
Yeah, okay.
It's gonna be pretty
Don't
cold.
forget your toe. Go out there.
Yeah, no, when I get that call, it's, I gotta do it. I apologize.
Thank you.
So yeah, we would just prioritize what actions we'd like the village to take, and then they will put that into refine our action strategy, and then they'll send that to the DEC as part of our grant deliverables. I attended a webinar on post-construction stormwater management practices. And it covered maintenance requirements and practices, collection and conveyance, peak runoff mitigation, water quality treatment, and runoff reduction. Another webinar I attended was illicit discharge detection and elimination. That's put on by Southern Tier 8 and the Broome Tiger Stormwater Coalition. I learned about the importance of having an updated storm drain map, water quality impacts, types of flows and their common causes, tracking and detection, having a strong ordinance in place and being clear on responsibilities, record keeping, and tracking discharge complaints. And we would be able to do all those things with our new software that we would like to purchase, or better software. That would help us with all the required stormwater ordinance.
Sorry, have you talked to Mick about that?
No,
He's completely not.
he's not for it.
I talked to Mick for like 3 hours Friday.
I passed test in FEMA's National Disaster and Emergency Management University for how to read a flood insurance rate map. There's a possible upcoming meeting with the DEC about the budget amendments for the grant for the flood risk reduction through FEMA CRS grant. So far, the village is underperforming our task by about $40,000. So it's an issue that we're going to have to figure out.
Did you say you passed the test?
I passed a test, an independent study.
Oh, congratulations.
I got another
Start.
another certificate. And then this building, the ADA compliance, the practice of locking the right door makes the building non-compliant because the left door swings into and it blocks the maneuvering space of the ramp and the landing, and so that the person with the chair wouldn't be able to get into the building. And so I'd like it if we could call like a repair person and just have it fixed, it'd be like $200 call to have the door fixed, and then our building would be ADA compliant. For not just, like, I don't think it's right for our person to have to call ahead and make an arrangement to have the door unlocked, to come pay their bill or pick up a permit or come to a meeting.
Again, Nick was looking into that pretty hardcore Friday. Actually borrowed a wheelchair from EMS, wheeled it up, like, if you go past the door, turn around and come back, you can get in the door just fine. Doesn't lock it. The right door is controlled with the card reader thing. We can set it to be unlocked when the building is open. The issue is then somebody has to know how to lock it when the building is not occupied. Like Friday, everybody left early, so you can't leave the building open. So we got to request into the Syracuse Time and Alarm to see, like,
if I can get that software on my laptop at home, so you call me so I can lock the door. That's why it's not unlocked. Not that it can't be unlocked, it's just logistically like a nightmare.
Well, like say if the right-hand door was unlocked
That's
all the
why
time,
You have to use the computer for it.
that would be how people would normally enter a building, and then,
So if.
and if the right-hand door was unlocked.
Fob
On the
system
other door,
on the
it'd be no
left
issue.
door, there wouldn't be any issue, right? Who designed it that way?
Delta engineers.
So we should talk to Delta about what, if they can provide a response to Laura's concern.
I don't know what the cost to switch the two doors is.
Right, but my point is, I appreciate Laura, and I fully echo, nobody with a mobility issue should ever have to call ahead to make it easy for accessing a space. And it sounds like there's a solution here, which you're going, but if a really simple one is it should have been on the other door,
You should
then
have.
that
Door should have been swapped.
that sounds potentially like a design issue, which we should talk to Delta about.
Does the other door open by activation of the panic bar?
If you're on the inside. Inside.
So
Coming in.
you're opening the door and then reaching in and pressing the other door? Does that work?
Doesn't work in a wheelchair.
It's really hard in a wheelchair. Yeah, that would be.
The best solution would be just to switch the doors and have the other one be the one that you can.
Yeah, this should, the door should come in. So you go on.
That's probably the most expensive.
Yeah. And it's awkward. You don't want it to be awkward for somebody to die.
Was it for me?
Thank you.
All right, now we're done. There.
Oh, sorry about that. We had an OHPC meeting, we had 2 COAs issued, we have a public hearing on 6264 North Ave for January 8th. It's a rear addition that Alex Duda is putting on. It used to be there years ago, and for some reason, some of it was taken off, and he's putting it back in and adding some improvements, so should hopefully be done. That's it.
Nothing other than what we've already talked about with the, chicken law and, cemetery.
Mr. Mayor,
Nothing
I
else.
have a question. I'm sorry, Fran. I thought you were done. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm done.
The new junkyard that has popped up across from Marvin Park, what's the deal?
Yeah, it's
Code's working on that too.
Okay, because I mean, it's a huge eyesore and it shouldn't be there during the cost of replacement assembly.
right adjacent to Marvin Park.
Like, it just seemed like it popped up out of nowhere and now it looks like crap.
About County Industries? Yeah.
In competition with.
I took the picture from Friday about it.
I mean, I didn't see a special use permit come through, which is required for that type of stuff. It just seemed like nothing was followed.
I don't mix on the trail. My report is nothing. I've been picking up chickens. Do a lot of research. We're back to public comment. Yeah. Got another 3 minutes if you want.
Yeah, I want to discuss something. I think that the last meeting, something was incredibly misrepresented by Trustee Van Housen. When a person had a complaint about a chicken keeper, they were given 5 days to remedy the complaint completely, or they would then be given, under that law, they would be given 14 days to remove automatically all the chickens, the coops, and everything else. Ladies, we're going to have a talk about ethics. I have a recorded interview with one of the people on the south side that you went up and did business with over there, the farms. They said that if you you promised to leave their goats alone, that they would go along with this whole chicken thing. This chicken thing is punitive. You did not even walk up the street to visit a neighbor who's 5 doors up from you. You couldn't be bothered. You didn't come to us smaller people at all. It was meant to be punitive. So you should know I'm giving up chickens and I'm moving to another animal. So you better sharpen those knives because you made this personal. And Mr. Mayor, if you ever mock again a person who's paralyzed online, I'm going to blast that far and wide. You had no right. It's disgusting. It's beneath you. And you owe that woman an apology, sir. You do. I cannot believe that common decency is out the door. You told her she had to ask someone to help her? She said there were two people standing right in front of the door, no one to help her. What is wrong? You help people. I'm done. I'm getting a different kind of animal. You can draft all new measures about other livestock in Owego. You did a terrible job, and it is unethical to make promises to people that you cannot keep. I have it recorded, Terry. Thank you.
Okay, so I will remind people in public comment, we do not attack specific board members, or you will be asked to leave and ask for help by the police. You can address the board as a whole. We've had this issue before and people have left the meeting. Anyway.
Wow, way to set the floor up.
Well, we don't attack.
I'm gonna seem like a gift. Just two questions. Again, thank you for the work you're doing on this chicken thing. I get it. It might sound a little tedious, but I think the effort put in now will serve this village well for a long time. Who's Mick?
Our code enforcement officer.
He's a busy guy. Just hearing that meeting, he's a busy guy. My last question, this is a fun one. What's up with that clock?
Twilight Zone.
Ain't supposed to order a new one.
Yeah.
Time to go.
Will that be incorporated into future solar power?
Might be so planned.
That's all. Like, you're not gonna talk any more chicken stuff, are you? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Executive session. I know, I bought on Amazon. So now we're gonna do our executive session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Meeting.
Same to you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
9 o'clock's all right?
9:02.
We're the same. All right.
I don't think carpet.
Go Apple.
All right, back to regular session. Charles, you make.
What was that about?
You make a motion.
Listening?
So the recommended language was that the board have a motion to uphold the appeal of Carpenetta in part and direct the village clerk's office and police department to provide a more particularized response to the request and/or provide a certification of due diligence concerning the efforts made to search the records and the non-existence of responsive records.
You can send this one.
Yeah, so in
Yeah, Ron,
connection,
you hit this.
in connection with the words that
Gone beyond what he can deal with.
in connection with the words that our lawyer has stated, I make that motion.
Second.
And you're gonna send that to somebody?
I'm going to listen to the audio recording and I'll fast forward right to the end.
Give me the last couple of minutes. Okay, so let's vote on that as a motion that Nate just read off. Rusty. Yes. Laura.
Yes.
Ron.
Yes.
Yes.
Jerry.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes,
And yes.
so it is written, so it shall be done.
Shall we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.